What's good? What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Urban Platform Speaks. Make sure to like and subscribe as you come into the channel. Check out the content. And with that being said, man, I want to speak on a recent article that I came across. This young lady, her name is Deja Kelly, and she spoke about the current state of the WNBA and that CBA agreement, right? And I said this a while ago. I said that there was going to be a divide between the WNBA players like who are at the top, as far as like the star players, the players who have experience and been in the league for a long time, the players who are more established, right? And the players who are making more money. Then when you get to like the middle tier players and the players who are not or who are just coming into the league, it's going to be a separation between those players, and that is really what is going to cause the divide. I said that with that unrivaled league, and you have Breonna Stewart and who is ahead of the unrivaled league, along with Collier. What's the young lady Collier first name? Uh, uh, Fee Collier. Nafisa Collier, she's her and Breonna Stewart have the unrivaled league. So, and also they're representing the WNBA. And so that right there, the optics of it, even if these two young ladies have the best interest of the WNBA at heart, it's still a conflict of interest, and the optics of it don't look good. It don't look good from the standpoint of like your peers in the WNBA, because they know that if there's a strike or a lockout, these young ladies like Fee and Breonna Stewart, they can hold out because financially they are more established and have more going for themselves in the league. And so that's one thing. Then you have this other league coming in, Project B, right? And Project B, again, you see certain people signing up for this Project B league and joining up for the Project B, but and that's good. But the only people that again are going to make out financially in this are the women who are already established and in the WNBA. Those are the ones who are going to make the good money. Then on top of that, Project B only have about half the jobs that the WNBA have, right? And so this young lady, her name is Deja Kelly. She came out and she gave an interview where she said that she is basically, you know, she's afraid of what might happen, and she thinks that the young ladies who are representing the WNBA are not really considering the women in the league who don't have the leverage and don't have the time in like the ones who, the other ones who did, right. And I knew this was going to happen. I knew even under the best of circumstances, whenever a league goes to a strike, you have to worry about players in the league who, number one, who are just getting there. Number one, who don't make as much money as the top players in the league. You got to consider that when you go into negotiations or when you're thinking about going into a strike. Why? Because those are the first people who break. They break due to financial reasons. If you go on a strike, already you're striking because you're not getting paid enough. So if you're not getting paid that you want, then you already know that money is going to be an issue for for these women, right? And so this young lady gave an interview. Let me see, who did she give an interview? All right, so it says uh Deja Kelly highlights overlooked group depending on successful CBA negotiation, right? And so the article, let me see, the CBA negotiations have dominated the off-season discourse around the WNBA. The current CBA was supposed to expire October the 31st, but the league and the WNBA agreed to a 30-day extension to continue negotiations, right? And so we already know that they continue negotiations. But I want to go down here where it says, all right, let me go down here for Deja Kelly. Hold up, let me plug this. I forgot to plug my computer up. I don't want to run out of power while I'm discussing this. All right, here we go. I'm online now. All right, so it says Deja Kelly is one of those players she addressed is the issue when she appeared on Good Follow with Ross Gold. For a player like me who is aspiring to be stamped in stamped in the league, have a consistent job, I don't want a lockout. I'm scared, Kelly said about this the CBA negotiation, right? So I knew this was going to happen, man. She is somebody who is like a strike or a lockout wouldn't really benefit the young ladies at the bottom of the league, far as pay. It wouldn't benefit the young ladies in the middle of the league, far as pay. And you got to know that the WNBA realizes this. They recognize this, right? They know this is not, you know, this is not their first time dealing with a strike. And I don't know. I have no idea why when you're talking about negotiations and you're talking about representation, like I said months ago that I think that Nafisa Collier and Breonna Stewart should step away from the negotiations because it's just not a good look. No matter, and I don't think that either one of these players would do anything that would jeopardize the women in the league. But I just think that for them to be representing two leagues at the same time is not a good look. And now I'm starting to see why the WNBA has not really protested these two young ladies representing both parties, right? Representing the WNBA and us, and the WNBA players and a separate league. Why? Because they knew the WNBA knew that it was going to cause division amongst the players, and that works on behalf of the WNBA, the league, and not the players. Once you get these young ladies to divide and people pointing at Nafisa Collier and Breonna Stewart and Nneka Ngumage. I think that I'm not sure if I'm getting her mixed up with her sister. One is Janae. I think Janae Ngumage is the one who's on TV, right? As an analyst. Nneka Ngumage is the one who is currently still in the league. Right. So Nneka, not too long ago, maybe a month ago, she signed with the Project B League, right? And so you have all of these established, very popular basketball players making sure that they are taken care of when it comes to signing with other teams and making moves and stuff like that. Most players in the WNBA don't have the brand deals, so you got Angel Reese got brand deals. Who else? Asia Wilson brand deals, Caitlin Clark brand deals. So if you have brand deals and stuff, you have to be considerate of the optics of it, right? And think about not just yourself, but your peers. And I don't really see anybody from the WNBA, as far as the players, who really doing that. Well, I see that Caitlin Clark really is. She really staying out of it, right? And that's what I would prefer for like the popular players and the players at the top who who don't have who don't have that financial stability. Just kind of like support your teammates, but support them, but be in a more of a supporting role. Have somebody like somebody who is put somebody out front who is not making as much money as the people at the top. Somebody who don't have all those endorsement deals, and that is a better look. That will give them more unity. But to have these young ladies at the top, man, I think, in my opinion, I just don't think it's a good look. And that's why you have articles like this with this young lady, Deja Kelly, coming out and saying she's scared, and so you got to, if she's afraid, if she's scared, then you got to know that that is the sentiment. That's probably the sentiment amongst a lot of players, because you already have a situation where uh players are probably living from check to check. If it happens in the NBA where you have players living from check to check. And it happens in the NFL with all the money those two leagues make, and players are living from check to check, then you know that these WNBA players are doing the same. So, yeah, man, I just, I think you, and remember, the WNBA season don't start until, let me see, April, probably like about May, April or May. I think the draft is in April, right? So if it starts in May, in between now and then, man, if they keep extending it, then that again, that works in the league favor, not the players, because these young ladies not going to want to they're not going to want to strike. And the WNBA, I don't know if the WNBA will lock them out or not, but if they lock them out, it's not hard to replace. Let me see how many players they have in the league, like 140 something players in the league. It's not hard to replace 140 something people, which I don't think they have to replace all of those, because I know some of them will probably come back. So a lot of players will come back. So yeah, man, I just think that I hope they get the money that they deserve, first of all. But on top of that, my fault. I hope they get the money they deserve, right? But on top of that, it's gonna be hard for them to negotiate when you have people who come out and admit that they're afraid, because only people that really benefit from the situation are the people on the top. So that's my take on it. Y'all make sure to go and check out the article though. Let me bring up this article again, so you can know who this article is from. All right, so the article is by somebody named Elaine Bloom, my fault. Elaine Bloom wrote this article, man. Y'all check this article out, because I think this article right here just gives some insight into how the WNBA players are feeling about this negotiation so far. And there's a divide, a definite divide in there within the WNBA players. So that's my take on it. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Also, don't forget to leave a comment, and I'll check you all out in the next video. Peace.